Welcome to the greatest podcast this side of Watford Gap. You are listening to Up on the Edge.
You've had a bit of a change around.
No, I've just moved the thing from over there to over here.
All right.
So,
What'd you do that for?
that's confuse you. Good evening, young man.
Daniel, how are we?
Did someone call me young man then?
Yeah,
I did indeed,
he's
yeah.
getting confused, mate.
He's getting very confused, isn't he? Either that or he's buttering somebody up. I don't know.
Well, you never know. You might need some big your next acting projects, and you think, I'm going to
Listen, mate, no, don't worry about it. You can put on my ass anytime you want, mate. If you've seen some of the productions I've done, it might fit in well with that.
Well, you never know.
Do I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound good as well, mate.
How are you?
I'm really good. I've just finished work, but it's not hard work. It's shunting, so I'm basically hanging around for an hour, moving a load of trailers and hanging around for another hour.
I'm making videos in between.
I'm making videos in between, yeah.
I've been watching. Yeah. I have been watching.
Yeah.
I've not seen you for ages.
Well, I mean, I don't know why we're doing a Zoom call. I could actually now go to my front door and shout really loud. You could probably hear me.
No, you see, because you come from the poor part of Shaw, right? What we do is we sort of black out. It's like an invisible barrier that doesn't allow people like you.
Yeah,
it's so posh, isn't it? It's because you used to live in the big house.
Yeah,
opposite Bobby Ball. That's where it is.
The posh house.
Owen, we've never met, but
yeah.
he's a 10 bob millionaire, right? He's got hire cars in his front garden, right? Hire cars, right? And he thinks he's the fucking the Don of Shaw. Honestly.
Listen, let me tell you something. When I get Burberry wallpaper on my walls like you've got, then you can have a pop at me, right?
That's
Until that point.
That's
Burberry.
Absolutely fuck all to do with me.
If he's out like me, that wallpaper has come from a Scottish theme pub, right? And what it is, there was a couple of rolls left over. He thought, I'll have that.
When you see my kitchen floor, you will realise it's a very expensive kitchen floor. However, the tiles that I've got in my kitchen should have gone to Boots.
Didn't make it.
They didn't make it. So I have got a very expensive floor, but it's very similar to those you might see in certain Boots stores.
But it does belong to Boots PLC.
I had a mate and he bought an house, and he used to do a lot of work for one of these pubs. He's a builder. Anyhow, he bought this house to rent out. And going through the house, doing the gas check, I thought, this carpet looks familiar. When it was in a Green King pub, I thought, that's where I've seen it before. And they were refitting a pub, and he peeled the old carpet up and took it with him.
It's got to be done.
That's the one thing about pub carpets is they're always really high quality. I think if you clean them.
Oh, they've got to be tough as anything, haven't they? You never see like walk. You know where you see the lines on your carpet where people walk in and out. You know where everybody walks. You don't see them in pubs.
No, you don't.
No. I tell you, we don't see any more shiny carpet in pubs. On the trail where they spilt drinks and it's all gone to shiny. You don't see that anymore, do you?
What's that all about? The other thing you don't see anymore, this is true, when was the last time you saw white dog shit?
Do you know, them days have gone because we used to think here, we used to have back alleys, didn't we? Before they put railings up, and it was an art to be able to get your rally grifter through all the dog shit when you went down the back ends. It was an art to come away without having to get a knife from the drawer.
Yeah,
scrape all the dog shit off your tires and put it back in the drawer without washing it.
That's right. Wipe it on the sleeve of your coat. It'd be all right.
You see, I wasn't that posh. I didn't have a grifter. I had a boxer. No, I didn't.
Boxer.
I had a chopper.
Now you see choppers. Grifters replaced the chopper.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Choppers were dangerous as fuck. All you had to do was put your head back and you wheel it and flipped over and cracked your skull. They were dodgy as shit.
It was the other way around, mate, with me. I used to crack my balls on that gear stick in the middle all the time.
No rear brake.
Yeah, no rear brake. Yeah, pedal backwards.
Yeah.
Dodgy bikes.
Yeah.
Good old days. Couldn't get away with it now, could you?
So you didn't grow up in Shaw, did you, Dan?
Did I fuck? Did I fuck? Do a look, my fingers part, look at that, they're not webbed.
So do mine.
I've only got
5 of them.
I've only got 2 feet.
Yeah, and not 6 toes. Anyhow,
Do you know something? I used to do the dooring pin Cheetos, and some of the lads used to come in. Some of the Royton lads come in, and they said to me, you fucking gobby. And I said, hold on a minute, where were you born? In hospital. I said, yeah, Royal Oldham Hospital in Oldham. I was born in the bedroom in my house in Royton. I says, I'm a fucking real Roytoner. You're a plastic Roytoner now. Fuck off. Cheeky bastards.
Why? How come you ended up at North Chad then? Why didn't you go to Royton and Crompton?
Got me mates going North Chad.
All right, wasn't that you got kicked out, expelled out like that?
Do you know what I found out? I found out, funnily enough, after a conversation with my mum last week, this has taken, 50 years to come out, that the reason they forced me to church, kicking and screaming, was to try and get me in blue coat. And they were absolutely devastated that I didn't want to go. I was determined I wasn't going to go blue coat, and I wish I fucking had now.
It's quite a well-to-do school, that blue coat, though, wasn't it?
But you would have learned something. It was, North Chad, oh my God. The first day at North Chad, I got strapped for something I didn't do. And I rebelled from that point onwards.
Why do I not know this? Tell me this story.
Right, the first day, and I'll tell you now, this is how genuine this is, right? You'll know if I'm lying or not. I walked in the school, we got put in 1-1 because we were in brain sort of things then. It was just put in a random class, so it was in 1-1. And there were Michael Williamson in there and Catherine Fish and another lad, right? Michael Williamson had this knotted shoelace, and he went up to Catherine Fish, and I was just sat there, like first day in school, and he went on her arm and cut her arm. Headmistress Maitland,
Mrs. Maitland,
everybody who was in that room into her office, and she went to us one by one. She came to me, she went, were you involved in this, Danny? I went, no. Were you there? I said, yes. Well, you were involved then. Hold your hands out, whack strap. So that was it. I rebelled like anything.
Was this the little school on Broadway?
Yes.
Yeah. Had the quadrant in the middle, didn't it? That you could never get into.
That was it. Yeah, but I did see Michael Lloyd dancing in there once, and and when we were like peeping over, and then we went in, and I said, oh, that was great, that Michael, do it again. And he says, oh, I'm not doing it. He'll just laugh at me. I said, we won't laugh at you. So he did this like movement dance or whatever we were doing, and we just started roaring laughing.
Yeah.
And then we got him, and then we put him in a chair with no seat on, so his legs and arms were up like that, and left him there. He couldn't get out. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was a bit of a bully as well.
The best thing that I found about North Chad was the fire station over the road. That kept me mesmerised for hours and hours, watching the fire engines come screaming out of there. They were great.
Do you not remember trying to tip the buses over when they went to the main building?
I was.
Did you never do the lean?
Like that, mate. I was never like that. Yeah, we were running from one side of the bus to the other.
To the other as they went round the roundabouts at Elk Mill, yeah. Tip the bus. I mean, I don't know what the hell we would have done if the bus had actually tipped. Probably brain damage, you know what I mean? But
the bus driver's panicking as well.
But I mean, what a crazy. I mean, people go on about it, you know, this corporal punishment. And they said they should bring it back. Well, no, they shouldn't bring it back because it does absolutely fuck all. Because I used to get the option then. It would, right, Danny, what are you doing again? We're smashing windows, right? Do you want the strap, detention, or lines? Strap, please.
Yeah, it's over and done with.
Over and done with. Apart from Mr. Monday on the ass, and that fucking hurt. There were 5 of us. There were 5 of us in a line. This big hairy hand come out of the office, dragged one in. We heard this, and then the walk up the corridor, clenching your buttocks really hard, trying to look hard. You know what I mean? And it was like, and I went last, and it was just worse because my imagination was, oh god, it was, yeah, it hurt that one. That was throwing snowballs.
What was it? What I got dragged out of the fifth form block by the sideburns on my head.
Yeah, there will be sideburns. Won't be a bloody hair, would it?
Mate, honestly, Was he called Mr. Wasey? Was he a history teacher or
Yeah.
something like that?
Mr. Wasey geography, but he also did games.
He lost his shit with me for some reason. I've done nothing wrong, but he just flipped and dragged me out. If you were to do that kind of thing today, you'd be in serious trouble. You really would. Yeah. What was the worst thing you got up to, Owen? At school?
At school, I was that good, mate. Remember I left with 9 levels, and I was top of my sets for everything, and the kids' CV stuff like yeah.
Well, you're from Manchester.
What did you go to?
He didn't.
I went to Spurley, in Manchester. In Gorton.
Charlotte and Grammar for girls, he went.
Hey,
I wish, God. What?
You see, the thing was, every lesson that I liked history, I liked tech drawing. Every lesson I liked, the people who didn't like it fucked about. Yeah. And then the lessons I didn't like, I fucked about. And so we never got to learn anything. Even in the subjects we really did want to learn, because the classes were way too big. And instead of just kicking people out and saying, right, go and round to Coff's Corner and smoke some cigarettes and let the rest who want to learn. It was just ridiculous. It was just a ridiculous system those days.
I know the first 2 years of secondary school when I was, we were in like a separate lower school, and but it was, to be fair, it wasn't a bad school. It was miles away from where I lived, but because my sister had gone there a couple of years previous to me leaving primary school, I ended up going there. All my mates went to Burnage, the home of the Gallaghers, and
really?
Benage, yes. So it's miles. So by the time I'd walked to school from where I lived, I was too bollocks to do anything anyway. And I was like, it's weird because everybody went to the same primary school except me. It's like an outcast. And of course, I come from Longside, so they're all a bit wary of me. You know,
really?
Look at that big kid there from Longside and don't go near him. Oh, Jesus. And that's what it was like. And, and we were small. I'd sit down, I'd do my work and what have you. And I just kept on with it. I love playing football. But for me, from an early age, I was just one of the people. I love to learn. And I just like to take it all on board. And, and there's many times I sat down and thought, God, I'm a plumber by trade now. I've done a bit of TV when I was at school and I'd love to have gone into acting. And sometimes I sit down and think, is it too late to go into it? Because, of course, Dan, you're into the acting now, aren't you? But you were a bit of a late starter in that, weren't you, yourself?
Yeah, I mean, you see, the funny thing is, it's a very long and windy journey, mine. And I remember the very first audition I went to was when I was about 11.
Yeah.
And it was at the bus garage at Monts Bridge.
Yeah.
And it was this film about a load of kids. And my mum just took me, and it would David Johnson, who's my drama teacher now. He's still going. He's got no teeth. He sucks his nose. Right. It was David Johnson, and he's a proper lovey darling, right, come on, children, come on. And I got a part on this film. And then I was really happy about it. And what happened after that was it got pulled. The funding got dropped. So that was the end of it. And I never thought about it again. I sound frozen here. You just really, really still.
I'm listening.
No, we're all intensive.
Yeah. So I never chased it up because it was a sissy. Can I say this? Can we say this nowadays? It was like a sissy thing to do, this acting, going on stage and that wasn't. If it had known, it would have led to film. You see, the problem we had then was there was no way in.
Yeah,
there was no way in. It was a mysterious sort of industry to get into, and there was nothing there to find out how to do this. So that was it. Life got in the way. I rebelled. I did what I did for 40 years. But if you want to hear my story, I'm quite happy to tell you what happened.
That's what we're here for. But
that's what we're here for, yeah.
The weird thing was, North Chad had one of the best drama sort of sections of any school that I've ever come across.
And you know something? Mr. Snell was the only... funnily enough, Mr. Snell, Colin Snell, was the only guy who saw something in me.
Right.
Out of the whole school, and he did try. I mean, I suspect that I've got ADHD. I suspect I had ADHD at school for a lot of reasons, and I suspect I've still got ADHD now because I've talked to people who've paid 500 quid to get diagnosed, and it's like we've talked. It was at an acting class actually, and we've talked. And her life, she's a dentist. her life was like a mirror of mine with how we went out through life, like reading and having conversations with people. And like when people talk to me, as soon as they get boring, my mind wanders or something happens and that conversation is gone, absolutely gone. I get put, anyway, I won't go through all that shit, but yeah, I went through, I've even forgotten what I'm talking about now. This is what I mean. This is the problem I've got.
Well, I'll bring you back to it actually, because I would probably concur that you have got some form of ADHD or something like that, because as long as I've known you a long time, you are one of those blokes. You were one of those kids that was ridiculously irritating, because if you wanted to do something, you were exceptional at it. You always have been, whether it was your acting is great, your photography. You went through a phase where me and you would just go anywhere and start shooting photographs.
Yeah.
You were fantastic at it, So stuff like that just, I want to learn how to drive a wagon. You did it in about a week or something stupid.
Yeah.
So you've always been really, really good at something like that. And that suggests to me that there's something there that you could literally, if you focus on it, you're the best.
Like you're on the spectrum, so to speak, that they call it.
What I think, right, what happens is I haven't had a job for more than 2 years straight since I left school, right, for a number of reasons. However, one of the manifestations of ADHD is when you get bored, boredom, I can't cope with boredom. So I either misbehave, fuck about, annoy people, or just, you know what I mean? I just cannot be bored. So when I discovered photography, digital photography, because I did try it when I was younger with my dad developing in the dark room.
Yeah.
It was too slow. When you took a photograph, you had to take it to the chemist, wait for a week, go back, and then get stickers all over the front of them saying that was shit, that was shit, that was shit, that was shit. Oh, there's one good one. It costs you $5 for your film. If you got a slow film for a fast shot, and all this stuff. But when I discovered digital, it was instant. So it fed my ADHD.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So I found something that I could do. I could go over and over and over, and it would be different every time. And that, for me, that's what took me out myself. That's why I loved it so much.
Well, how do you relate that to the acting then? Because there's times in acting where
I stood around, aren't you?
You stood around forever. It's ridiculous. Anybody that's ever been on a film set or a TV set, you stood around forever, and then you'll do something and you'll think it's the absolute dog's bollocks, and the director shouts, "Cut! Let's do it again. Cut! Let's do it again." And it's just like Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Well, I might as well tell my story now. Because it ties in with it actually, and it will answer your questions. So 2016 and 15, I was working for BT as an engineer. I got a job there, and it was a job for life, very important this, and I did well in that job. However, I applied to go on Bear Grylls, the island, and I basically got first reserve, and this guy decided to pull out, and I got sent down to London to have yellow fever jabs, rabies jabs, all this, and all intents and purposes I was going, but this guy changed his mind. But the application process, they really liked me, and and I got a taster. So what I did then was I thought, well, how do I find out there's more of these types of shows going on? And I went on an application called Star Now, which is like acting, modeling, and reality shows and the audience. So, and then I saw this thing saying HGV drivers wanted for major Hollywood movie.
I remember this.
And I thought, I'm going to be moving scenery around and shit like that. And I did look at the weight, and it was 300 quid a day. And I thought, whoa, cha-ching, I'm all over that. I'm all over that. So I applied. The next thing I know, I've got to go down to Pinewood Studios to get a fitting. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I get down to studios and I walked past the James Bond studio and all this shit. I'm like, woo, fuck me. This is amazing shit. And like Wookiees walking past, it was like fucking crazy shit. And I loved it. So I said, well, what's happening? I got there and they said, right, here you are. You're going to be in the jungle. We want you to grow your facial hair. This is important as well. We want you to grow your facial hair. Don't cut your hair. We want you to look as though you've been in the jungle for weeks. It's for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And I'm like, Ancient Futures was the code name for it, Ancient Futures. I'm like, what? I'm going to be in the film? Oh, yeah, you're driving the wagons in the film. I'm like, whoa. Anyway, drove home and gets our dates and gets down there. First day, we get this guy, gives us false guns. He says, right, in Britain, we don't have guns. Don't point at anybody. Always leave your gun with somebody else and everything. We're going to take you on the set. We walked in to this massive warehouse and we walked right into the internal of a ferry that you see in the beginning of the film moving away. It was a complete replica with wagons in there, with dinosaurs on the back. And I just looked around. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And I thought, come on, this is, I just got that.
Was it not like a big green screen or anything like that, Dan?
Right, no, the set was the set. The set was the inside of the ferry, but on one end was a green screen.
Right.
So you can imagine. And it's funny you should say that because the first scene was a camera on this electronic computerized boom. And what it did, you've got 3 levels on this ferry. It was right up there. It was a full-size ferry. This weren't no fucking pretend shit with waving about furniture. This was proper shit, right? So we had all these guards, we had all these bodybuilders playing like soldiers, and they were oh my god, they were like took it so seriously when they weren't even on set. They were walking around with the guns as though they were guarding the place. And I'm like at me, you fucking wankers. Yeah, shut up. So this shot, it started off with this camera at the top, and it went down to the back of the ferry, then turned and then went between the wagons and then up to the green screen. It was 25 seconds.
One shot. Yeah.
One shot. It took us 15 hours. Now, going back to your first thing about don't you get bored?
Yeah.
Right. Well, first of all, I didn't know it at the time, but I was in amongst creative people, right? Bearing in mind, I've been in Royton and Shaw for 40 odd years of my life. I was amongst, I was amongst creative people. I wasn't punching the lorry bastards out of the pub in the face, you know what I mean? And I was watching everything that was going on. I was like a sponge. It was just like, it was amazing. And I learned by watching. Because of ADHD, I learn everything by watching. When I'm on BT, when I watch guys and thought, how did they put them on so quick? I clock it. Oh, right, they do that, then they do this, and then they pull that. And then I clock things by learning. If we'd have had YouTube when I was like 12, 13 years old, I would have been a different person now. And I mean that with total honesty, because I would have learned so much. Yeah. So much. I can't learn from books because I end up reading the same line over and over and over and over. But watching something, I'm like a sponge. So yeah, I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. And then we had I met Chris. Is it Chris Pratt, the lead? Bryce Dallas Howard. Oh, she's gorgeous. Bryce Dallas Howard, Ron Howard's daughter. Yeah. Happy Days.
Yeah, well, that's how I remember him. And it's hard to imagine now he's this big, massive producer, isn't he?
Yeah, he does something amazing. I'm sure he did that racing one, that James Hunt one. Didn't he do that one?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He did all the like Apollo 13 and all that as well, I think, didn't he?
He's done loads of stuff.
Yeah. He's a really good director. And then what happened was they book us like for 5 days, but you weren't guaranteed like 5 days work. So obviously there's me, a Scottish lad, and a Sheffield lad. We can't go home. So they said, right, we don't need you Tuesday, lads. So we're like, well, what the fuck am I going to do? And so I went up to the AD and I said, look, mate, I said, can I come in tomorrow? I'll sweep up, I'll run, I'll do stuff, I'll do anything. Just can I come in tomorrow? I said, because I've just got I had a glamping pod. It was a shed with a bed. That was it. That's all I can afford. It's all I can afford. And that were 30 quid a bleeding night, the rip-off southern bastards. So he said, well, I'll tell you what, we're shooting a green screen. We're shooting the internal in an internal studio tomorrow. You can come in and we might want you to just play the driver on that. So I walked in and it's a tiny studio. You've got the wagon, which is sort of in half, so they could shoot as though they're looking inside the wagon. And they said, go and sit with Ted over there. So I sat down with this guy called Ted, old guy, white, sits down. He's like, hey, what's your name? And I said, Dan. He says, where are you from? I said, I'm from up north, mate. I says, they get us down here in London and all that to clean the drains out or climb up chimneys to clean chimneys out and all that. I said, that's what I was normal.
They nick our kids and everything.
He started laughing, this Ted. And then he said, hey, can you do Irish accent? And I said, what, Southern Irish or Northern Irish? He says, Southern Irish. And I said, well, I can sort of do the Southern Irish to a point. I said, but he gets a bit shit. And, and we started having a bit of a laugh. No idea who he was. Ted Levine. So gets home to me digs, and I Googles him, and Ted Levine is the serial killer in Silence of the Lambs. He's the guy who drops that basket down to that girl in the pit.
Yeah.
And does the dance where he tucks his knob between his legs.
Right,
and does that. It's him. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even realise I was talking to this guy.
How could you be sat next to somebody like that and not realise that they were a famous actor?
Mate, they're just people. They're just people, you know what I mean? It's like, you just don't think, do you? And it's like, and if I'd have known who he was, we wouldn't have had such a good conversation and had such a laugh, because I might have been a bit awestruck with him.
So, 18 hours or whatever it was, this film, and how long were you on screen for?
That were it. If you saw me, that would have been it. Because it were left-hand drive American vehicles that we drove, and you didn't see us. You'd probably see our elbows sticking out, and that was it.
300 quid a day for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the big scheme of it, 300 quid a day is not a lot, is it?
Yeah, but Owen, one day they flew us up to Scotland, right? I've never flown from London to Scotland before, and it was like we just got to the height and the seatbelt signs went off. And as soon as the seatbelt signs went off, they were like, come back on again. You fasten in and go in for your descent. It's like, what?
Why don't do this all the time? Instead of 12-hour drive.
And they took us to Loch Long, and on there is an old submarine base, and it's like a jetty with a crane over the top. You can see it on the film. They superimposed the ship onto that. It's amazing shit. But you've got this long jetty, and it's at least 2 wagons wide. And there were about 300 people there, all the crew. And we filmed the day of, like, basically what we're doing. We're coming off the ferry and driving around the jetty and then coming onto the ferry. So we did it sort of in reverse. But they asked me to do this shot where they wanted me to drive over the top of the camera. So you got, like, the... And you get the underneath of the wagon, that shot. So they put the camera down behind me. And they said, right, Dan, can you reverse over the camera? And then when we say drive forward, right? So this dock suddenly goes like that, right?
And you start sweating.
And I said to the guy, how much is this camera worth? And he said, you won't get much change from 250 grand. And I went, right, okay. So... And then the whole set stopped. It's in the middle of the night. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's pitch black. This dock's like that. And I've got reverse over this £250,000 camera in an articulated wagon. And I'm like, oh my God.
Shit.
And everybody stopped. And it felt like everyone held the breath.
Yeah.
It did. It was awful. That was the worst time ever. It's like, when you can walk along a beam, but when the beam's like 500 foot off the floor, it suddenly gets a bit narrower, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It's like, So you're like, but I did it and it was fine.
Did you get other films or other appearances on the back of this then?
Right. Well, what happened after was I looked on Star Now and I saw this advert. Right. Remember the beard? I saw this advert for somebody to play a homeless guy in a movie teaser short. So I thought, right, well, I've got the beard, I've grown my hair, I look a bit ropey. I'll go for it. So I sent an application off, and then I got a reply from the director saying, right, here's the lines, learn these lines, then come up to the audition on the such a date. I think it was June 2016. So there was this guy there called Malcolm, and I said, Malcolm, help me with these lines. So he starts doing these lines with me because he'd done a bit of acting, and like we went through these lines and everything. And then I bottled it, and I sent a message to him saying, look, mate, I've never acted before in my life. I said, I don't think I should be coming up. I got imposter syndrome. And he sent me a message back, and it changed my mind the way he said it. He went, look, mate, I was in exactly the same position as you. I'd never done it before. I went to an audition. I got in a Ken Loach film, Root Irish. I got a role in that, and I've never looked back. He says, just come up and have a go, mate. And I thought, fuck it, I will. So I got in when we did the makeup in Pinewood, I asked the girls, have you got any makeup that makes me look a bit weathered and dirty? You know? Oh, yeah, here. We've got some of this left. Shove that in your pocket. Sound. Gets home, cuts my cap up so it looks a bit raggedy, put my old clothes on, put this makeup on, and then I rolled around in the mud in my front garden, jumped in my car, parked up at the BT, what's it called? BT car park, that's in Manchester at Dial House. And then I walked along Deansgate, and I was walking along Deansgate. Every fucker was ignoring me, apart from the homeless who were all letting on. How are you, mate? All right. How's it going, brother? You know, yeah. I'm like, I've done it. Goes into the audition, and I walks up to this director called Trey Roberts is called. And I said, "Hi, mate." I said, "Can I just use your toilet?" They won't let me in the Arndale Centre. And he says, "Yeah, but you have to be quick, mate. We've got auditions here today." I said, "I know, I'm your 2 o'clock, Dan." And he went, "You what?" I said, "Dan, 2 o'clock." "Fucking hell, you got me. You got me." And it was like, oh my God. So we went through this mad audition where there were hundreds of people there, and they kept moving us around, and I got the lead role.
Wow.
I got the lead role off it. And then we went filming it after I'd finished Jurassic. We went filming it in city centre Manchester. I had established actors there. One guy who was on Brassic, he played the gypsy who fought.
Yeah.
Rick Carr, I think he's called. And they're all saying to me, you know, like, you're a really good actor. You're a good natural actor, Danny. Why don't you? What are you doing? Are you chasing it up? What are you doing? So I'm like, nah, it's not right, this. It's a bit like walking down the road and singing a song and someone coming up to you saying, you're a fucking top singer. I can make you a star. It's like, nah. I'm a lad from Royton, you know. What are you talking about? I'm a good actor. They just want me because they're not paying me, you know.
Yeah.
Nice dig there, El. So yeah, I was short at the time.
I know how you feel.
So I started thinking about it, and I thought, right, well, the only way I'm gonna prove this is if I go for more auditions. So I started hitting more auditions, and every audition I went to, I got a role. I went to this one where I played a zombie, and it was filming in Lincoln, all fully expenses paid. It was a graduate film from graduate filmmakers. Got the lead role on that. That was a great experience, and I ended up doing about 35, 40 student films over the time. And I started going to acting classes, and I got an agent within 6 months. I got on Spotlight so quickly, and I started to believe in myself then. I didn't get that. I lost that imposter syndrome, and I thought, maybe I have got a talent. And things have just snowballed from that point onwards, basically. I've proved to myself that I've got talent. I can, and the thing, PhD, and how does that affect me with the acting? Well, I've got a really, really vivid imagination. And when I say vivid, I mean very, very vivid. I can, when scenes are described to me, I can picture them. It's like an internal cinema screen in my head, and I can picture it. And also, whatever I'm thinking in my mind comes out in my face. It manifests in my face. So if I think something, that manifests on my face. Now, that answers some questions about when I was younger, why I used to get smacked in the nose. Because I remember being sat in there in clubs and looking at someone thinking, you're a fucking dickhead, you, mate. And he'd come over and punch me in the face. Like, how did he know what I was thinking? And it was like...
So then, Danny, I believe you're in Veganville.
Yes, Yes. Yeah, what happened with that was, again, we'll go back to this Star Now thing. Back in 2016, I read a book called Meat is for Pussies by John Joseph. He was in a punk band called the Cro-Mags.
Yeah.
You've never heard of him, Al?
No, I haven't.
Man.
No.
Yeah,
I'd never heard of him before. And he wrote this book about, and it was basically, it wasn't tree hugging. It was all about the pharmaceutical industry, doctors. Doctors give prescriptions. Pharmaceutical industries get a cut of these prescriptions. So it's in doctors' interest and the pharmaceuticals' interest to keep us ill so they can keep giving us these prescription drugs, and how we've been lied to and all that. And I bought into it. And then I sort of went plant-based for health. And then eventually I looked at what happened to the animals in the animal agricultural industry, could not support it. I was ethically against it, and so I went totally vegan. And I started shouting out about it on Facebook because I got annoyed about how animals were treated. I was then getting people trolling me. I won't mention any names, Mr. Neild.
Yeah.
But what happened was, with people trolling me, is I had to go and research the questions that they put to me. Well, what about this? What about that? And I researched, and became really good at debating veganism. And then I saw this ad on Star Now, and it said, are you loud and opinionated? Are you vegan? And I answered the ad. And over 12 months, I can't really talk about the procedure, what they went through, but basically I had to do a few self-tapes answering questions. And eventually, I got on this show, which was basically Big Brother, but with like 5 vegans in a house. And we were trying to turn a big farming community with Tidville.
Yeah,
Tidville. Of all the places to go. So you've not always been a vegan then, or you've not always been vegetarian?
I've never been vegetarian. I was one of the biggest meat eaters you could ever think in your life. I used to love eating meat practically raw. My wife had a cafe. I used to go in and have 6 poached eggs on toast every morning. You have to try and beat Al to the front of the queue. You know what I mean? He was quite regular there.
This is true, right? We used to meet up every Saturday morning, me and Dan, and we'd have full fry up at his missus's cafe. It was fabulous.
Yeah, it was. It was
great. And then he tries preaching to me about why I should become a vegetarian and go plant-based and one. And I'm like, are you mad? Bacon butties, man. What are you doing? And he's going, oh, no, it's the way forward. And he shredded weight. Fat, not muscle, like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, I did.
See, I remember watching a program, and it's massive in America, this veganism, and they were talking about players that are injured, how they recover slower if they're meat eaters than if they are vegetarian.
Why?
Or vegans either. It's like I said, it's something to do with as human beings, we're not totally designed to meat eaters. You've only got to look at the teeth to see that we're not genuine meat eaters. We've not got fangs.
Yeah. We have. I've got fangs.
No, we haven't.
No, not proper fangs.
Scorfield. What are you going to do? Try and rip your chair open with your sharp fangs out. Let's see you do that.
Yeah.
Your dog could do it in about 3 seconds. Jesus Christ.
And so we're not natural meat eaters. Same as it's weird. And this is one thing that's always puzzled me. We're the only breed that'll drink the milk of another animal.
Right.
Yeah, I love milk. So I'm not knocking it. I mean, obviously it's my choice to be a vegetarian. Not be a vegetarian. It's my choice to be a meat eater. But there is arguments for it, and I wouldn't call anyone for being a vegan or a vegetarian or a meat eater.
When you talk about the recovery, now a lot of athletes are vegan and they won't mention it because they don't want the competitors to have the edge. What it is, when you eat any animal product, it causes inflammation in your cells. Right? When you eat vegetables, fruits, and any other sort of non-animal product, it reduces inflammation in your cells. Turmeric's a really good anti-inflammatory, along with a lot of other things. Spinach actually improves your performance. Milk is full of estrogen, the female mammalian estrogen. And this is why men in the middle age get moobs, right? It's because you're actually being feminized over the years. You're actually being feminized. There you go. That is the reason why.
It's always been a breast man, to be fair, though.
But yeah, there's a film out there called The Game Changers, and it's a plant-based film. plant-based veganism is very similar. Plant-based is because you do it for health reasons. Veganism is the ethical side of it because you don't want to hurt animals. But if you watch the Game Changers, your head will explode. And I just want everybody out there who's watching this, go and watch the Game Changers, give it a go and watch it, and your mind will be blown. They even found evidence that the gladiators, the Roman gladiators, were all plant-based because it gave the optimal performance of an athlete, and they were the biggest athletes going.
Yeah, of course.
So it's amazing. So yeah.
Do you know what you're saying about the difference between plant-based and veganism? And veganism is because they don't want to hurt the animals. I don't think anybody actually, given the choice, I don't think anybody wants to hurt the animals, though, do they?
This is the thing. The first thing we taught, right? The first thing you're taught when you're young is speciesism. A bit like racism, it's speciesism. So we are taught to love cats and dogs, but we're taught it's okay to abuse, murder sheep, pigs, goats, chickens, fish. This is the first ism that we taught when we're young. And because if you saw roadkill, let's say we're natural meat eaters and you saw a dog that had been run over in a lay-by somewhere, if you were a natural meat eater, you would be salivating and you would think, whoa, yes, there's my next meal. Yeah, but we don't, we feel pity. If you see someone hurting an animal, the first response you get is to stop that person hurting that animal.
Yeah.
We do not want to hurt animals. And this is why they say if slaughterhouses had glass walls, we would all be vegan. And that is totally true. Totally true.
So how do you go on then for somebody that, you know, I enjoy food. I'm going to be brutally honest about it. Yeah. How would you go on for variety on one thing and another when it comes to plant-based?
So variety. So I used to eat beef, chicken, lamb, and pork. Now I eat like a million different colours of vegetables. I sample thousands of different types of beans. There are 25 different types of plant-based milks out there. I eat loads of fruits. I buy frozen berries, banana. I've opened up my palate so much since I stopped eating animal products. It's unbelievable. I no longer eat beige food.
What about your family? Because I believe your family.
None of my family are vegan. There's only me.
So how does that sit?
Dropping digs all the time. I've got a YouTube channel called Grumpy Vegan Grandad, and the reason I'm called Grumpy Vegan Grandad is because
sums him up.
The only reason that I'm called Grumpy Vegan Grand. These are my glasses for me, Grumpy. It's because every time my granddaughter is here, Cleo, my missus would get, here's a bacon butty for you, Cleo. Here's some pig flesh on a sandwich for you. And I'd be like, that's Peppa Pig, that is, Cleo. Do you know that?
Oh, that's awful.
Awful. Hold on a minute. Telling the kids the truth is awful.
Hey, don't talk to me about Peppa Pig, hey? I feel sorry for Daddy Pig, me. They're always picking on that poor fella.
Yeah, exactly. So my granddaughter said one day, she went, Grandma, why is Grandad always grumpy? I mean, she went, it's because he's vegan. And it was just like, Grumpy Vegan Grandad. So,
do you know what? I'm going to tell a little story, right? This is something that it's got to be 15, 20 years ago. Dan came up with this entrepreneurial idea of how me and him could make some money. And what we were going to do is I was going to be like the straight guy. And we were going to go debt collecting, and Danny was going to dress like Frankenfurter from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, right? In high heels, a basque, fishnet tights, makeup, the full lot, and he'd have a dog collar on, you know, with the
lead,
and the lead, and I was going to hold the lead. And when we knocked on doors for money, I was literally going to turn around and say, you need to pay up now, otherwise I'm going to let him off the lead at you. And he was just going to go, grrr.
Thing is, though, I've seen some of the pictures on, is the site called Mandy?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, it's got great legs. I'll give him that. I can imagine having stockings, mate.
Growl.
I've got to say though, for anybody that's ever watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Tim Curry in a mask looked pretty
Yeah.
bloody good.
I did start
Yeah.
doubting my own sexuality after watching that. I really did.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time I doubted my sexuality anymore was when Culture Club first appeared on the screen, and I'm like, wow, she's fit, until I found out it was a guy, and it was like, what? I was so confused.
Well, he is.
It
Well,
was
I'm going
like-
to blow your mind now because he is Joanne, my wife's second cousin.
Really?
George
That is-
O'Dowd is.
Yes.
Is
yes.
it?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. She never met
That
him.
is it.
We didn't actually know. We found out. It was really weird. We found out because we was watching one of these programs where they search back through history, and he was the star of it. He was on it. They took him back through history, and they were showing a load of documents. And we're looking at these documents, and all, it's got all these different people on it. He's what do they call it? The family tree.
Yeah.
And it came across this bloke and his brother was Joanne's granddad. So it was like his granddad was the brother of my wife's granddad. So it was like, shit, the bed, we're really related to Boy George. This
It's
is
crazy,
cool.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I did a DNA test. I was really curious, and
I've known that
we-
about you for a while, if I'm being brutally honest.
Change is as good as the rest.
somebody told me, I'm not saying nothing, I'm not even going to feed you your perverted suggestions. Some old woman talked to my brother and said, yeah, I'm researching my family tree as well. And they reckon that Shepherd, the way my Shepherd
Yeah,
is
it's
spelled,
different, isn't it? Yeah.
it comes from Sephardi Jews that were ousted from Spain in the Middle Ages. And yeah, so maybe. And they ended up like all over the world, these Sephardi Jews. And we know that there's some gypsies in the family going back a bit, and our records disappear to about 1800. So I thought, I'm going to do my DNA test, and I'm going to be Spanish, I'm going to be Jewish, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. It's going to be amazing. Gets my results back. I'm like 40% UK English. I'm 30% Scottish, 20% Welsh, 10% Isle of Man, and about 2% Norway and about 2% Swedish. I'm the most boring DNA. I'm just basically English, and that's it. I'm just shit. I was devastated.
English related to everyone that's conquered us in the years gone by.
That's
Exactly.
it. Yeah. Roman and
Martha Shepherd had it away with Vogue, the Terrible. And then another one had it, oh man, it's like, I was really looking forward to a good story.
So what's happening going forward? With your acting and one thing or the other. Where are you going with it?
So what's happening now is basically I've got a really good agent now. I've gone through about 6 agents. It's like I said before to you, Owen, it's a very cutthroat up and down business, and you can easily get led astray and have people take advantage. I found a lot of that going forward, that there was a lot of agents who got you on the books to look good and they did nothing for you. I found an extremely proactive agent. She's absolutely ace. I don't even have to think now. She just sends me email after email. I'll put you in for this, put you in for that. So I'm just waiting for my break. I love doing what I'm doing. I love going to my acting lessons with David Johnson, who I'm with at the moment. He's the guy who did Oldham Theatre Workshop, and he put a lot of Coronation Street stars, the originals, Bet Lynch and all those lots. He put all them into Coronation Street. So yeah, I'm just waiting for something to happen. And if nothing happens in the next 10, 15 years, I'm still going to crack on, because I absolutely love becoming characters and doing stuff. It takes me. I haven't drunk for like 3 years. Acting is my alcohol. I love it, and I strive for it. So I'm just waiting for that break. That's all I'm waiting for at the moment. If it comes, it comes.
Is there a particular role you'd like, though?
I'm never going to get the romantic lead, mate. Never ever going to get the romantic lead. However, murderer, psychopath, you name it, copper, rough look. I'm quite aware of which way I'm going to go. I've got that look about me. You know what I mean? So I'm probably going to end up murdering someone on Coronation Street sooner or later, or Oh,
and then you might even do
I
it.
felt like that myself.
I've got a list here of anyway if things go wrong.
Danny, we've got to call it, mate. Listen, our love and thoughts and wishes go with you. You're a fantastic human being, mate. All the best for the future.
Well, listen, thank you for having me on. It's been great to have a chat with you guys, to meet you all and everything.
Yeah, it was great to meet you too. What's your YouTube channel again, Al? Dan?
It's called Grumpy Vegan Grandad.
Grumpy Vegan Grandad.
I've got some great interviews on there. Actually, I interview a Scottish BAFTA winner on there as well. So he's pretty cool.
Oh, we've just put it. We just put the link up there for you now. It's there.
Oh, brilliant! Thank you.
All right, buddy. Right.
Pleasure to meet you, Danny.
Thank you.
Take care,
See you
mate.
later, buddy.
Bye now.
Bye.